May the 2nd, year 2019. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. The 6th miracle verse of Sureh Anbia, Surah number 21. This is verse 104. This verse states, "The day that we roll up the heaven like the rolling up of the scroll for writings. As we began the first creation, we shall repeat it. A promise binding upon us, truly we shall do it." Discussion. At our time, when we write a lengthy letter, it might become a few pages. But in the past, they wouldn't write it this way. They would write it in a long piece of paper or animal skin, and they would roll it up. They called it a scroll. When they did not want to read it, it was rolled up, but when they wanted to read it, they would open it and read it. And then after they were through, they would rolling it up again. This verse says that in the future, God will roll up this world like rolling up of a scroll. This means that everything that has happened in the world, including anything that any human being has been done, it will be saved in it, and at the time of the world hereafter, it will be there. This verse also states a promise binding upon us. That is what God says. Truly we shall do it. Here comes a question. Why God says that bringing the day of the resurrection is binding upon us? And again he emphasizes it and says, truly we shall do it. The answer is that the God is very just. Because God is just, there should be the world hereafter, and there should be judgment, and anybody should be treated according to what he or she has done. Otherwise, those who have helped the needy people, and they have spent a lot of their time and their money for them, and they might have even sacrificed their lives for defending them, will be equal to those who have been cruel, confiscated other people's money, and might have killed hundreds of thousands of other people. Because God is just, there should be the day after, the day of the resurrection. On that day, everybody should be judged according to what he or she has done, and then he or she should be rewarded or punished. Now let us see what the cosmologists say about the end of this world. Cosmologists are those scientists who study and do research about the whole universe. about the whole world. In the 19th century, at that time, atheism, believing that God does not exist, for some reason was very common in Europe. The English cosmologists at that time said that the world has always been the same and it will always be the same. There will not be any changes in the world. Also, the world does not have a beginning and does not have an end. So, it does not have a creator and God does not exist. The English cosmologists, without having any reason, said that, and because of the atheism which was widespread in Europe, the whole Europe, almost all the cosmologists in the whole Europe accepted that. Then, at about the middle of the 20th century, at that time the cosmologists had found that the universe is expanding. Stephen Hawking, the genius English cosmologist, by using mathematics, proved that the world has been very, very small, sometimes in the past. And then by a big explosion that he called it Big Bang, he has suddenly started expanding. And he said that this expansion has been 13.8 billion years ago. And because of the force of the explosion of the Big Bang, the world is still expanding. But he said that because of the retraction force of the stars, the expansion of the world will gradually become slower, and then finally it will turn back. And the whole thing in a big crunch will become like before, smaller. The whole world will become again smaller than the nucleus of a hydrogen atom, like it was before. And hydrogen atom, we know that is the smallest atom. He said there might also be, instead of a big crunch, there might be a few smaller crunches. And in that case, the world will become some different pieces separate than each other, but each of them is smaller than the nucleus of a hydrogen atom. Then, at about the year 1965, the cosmologists discovered the dark matter. Dark matter, the only thing that we know about that is that it has weight. The regular matter that we know about it, we are familiar with it, is made of the elements that we know: hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, nitrogen, iron, copper, gold, and so on. But the dark matter, we do not know what it is made of. the only thing that we know about that at the time that they discovered it, and so far until now, the only thing that the scientists know about it is that it has weight like the regular matter, and its amount is much more than the regular matter. Its amount is close to 6 times more than the regular matter. Then, at about the year 1990, the cosmologists noticed that the expansion of the world not only shows any sign of decreasing, but in fact it is increasing. And they said it is because of the effect of another energy that they called it dark energy. The reason that they called it dark energy is that we do not know anything about that. We just know that it exists. And then the cosmologists said there might be one or two other factors also besides the dark matter and dark energy, which have not been found yet. During the past several years ago, the cosmologists noticed that the expansion of the world, which has become faster by any second, it becomes even faster. In fact, the more the world expands, the faster it expands, much more faster it expands. Because of that, they said that the world will soon rent asunder. First, the galaxies will rent asunder, then the stars. We know that our sun is one of the stars. Then the stars, and then the planets. Planets are those spheres which move around the stars, like the Earth. Then, so they said that first the galaxies will rent asunder, then the stars and planets, and finally the molecules and atoms. And everything will be shattered to the very, very, very small pieces, much, much smaller than the nucleus of a hydrogen atom. And because the world was expanding faster at any moment, they said that the end of the world might even be tomorrow. They said it would be very soon, and it might even be tomorrow. But in the past few years, the cosmologists have found that, surprisingly, the expansion of the world is not exceeding. And in fact, it has become stable. And now they say that the world will rent asunder, but not tomorrow or in the near future. It will be billions or even trillions of years from now. Each billion, you know that it is 1,000 millions, and each trillion is 1,000 millions. So this is the latest information that the cosmologists give to us about the end of the world. That in billions or trillions of years from now, it will rent asunder. Now let us see what Quran says about the dark matter and about the end of the world. About the dark energy and about the end of the world. Verse 5 of Sureh Shura, Surah number 42, states, the heavens are almost rent asunder from above them, and the angels make it correct for praising their Lord and ask forgiveness for those on earth. Discussion. The verse says that the world is almost rent asunder from above it. At any part of the earth that we look up, it is up. Up at that time, in that area. Because the whole world is a sphere. So this means that the world is almost rent asunder from all around it. But the angels stop that and this is because of the effect of the dark energy that wants to rent asunder the world. But the angels, some of the angels who have this special duty, stop it for praising their Lord. And it is interesting that the same angels ask God to forgive those who are on earth, which means we, the human beings, and the jinns. About the jinns, hopefully I will talk in another session in the future, after doing lots of other things that I have to do and make videos from them. But I say briefly here, it seems that the jinns are from the dark matter. The cosmologists also say that the same way that in the regular matter there are living creatures, including we, the people who have wisdom, in the dark matter also there might be living creatures, including those who have wisdom. The verse says that the same angels who prevent the world from becoming rent asunder ask God for forgiveness of those who are on earth, the human beings and the jinns. I will just talk about the human beings. And this is a lot of credit for us, that a special group of angels who are so much powerful that they stop the world from becoming rent asunder, they do it for the praising their Lord, praising God. The same angels ask God to forgive those who are on earth. It seems that the action of these angels is to correct the defects. In the large scale, the defect of the world they prevent it to happen. In the smaller scale, for those people who ask God wholeheartedly to forgive them, these angels help them. Now, there is a question: when is the end of this world and the day of resurrection? According to several verses of Quran, only God knows that, but it might be soon. Also, the end of the world is not by renting asunder, but it is by scrolling up like the scrolls for writing. So it has everything that has happened in the world, including everything that any human being has done in it. Everything will be saved in it. It will be registered and saved in it. And God will change this world to another world. I will repeat verse 104 of Surah Anbia again. It says, "The day that we roll up the heavens like the rolling up of the scroll for writing, as we began the first creation, we shall repeat it." Discussion. According to this verse, the world that came into existence, God brought it into existence by the massive explosion of the Big Bang. Will be closed again like a scroll which has writings in it. This verse also states, "As we began the first creation, we shall repeat it." This means that after the world is rolled up, another world, God will make another world, that is the world hereafter. And in that world, everybody will be judged, and everybody will be rewarded or punished according to what he or she has done. Now, when is that day? Several verses of Quran say that only God knows that, but it might be soon. These verses say that it might be soon. And also, when it comes on the day that God has decided, it will not be even 1 hour earlier or 1 hour later than God has decided. Thank you very much, and God bless you.